Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at AQA A-Level Psychology 2020 Paper 3 Exemplar Answers for Gender, which you need to know for AQA A-Level Psychology. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Please note that these answers have been produced with knowledge of the mark scheme but have not been approved by the mark scheme themselves. There are 3 assessment objectives, AOs, in psychology. In this video they are color-coded. AO1 Knowledge, purple. AO2 Application, blue. AO3 Evaluation, red and green. Question 1. Which one of the following best describes Kohlberg's gender stability stage? Write the correct letter in your answer book. 1 mark. A. Knowing what gender you are now and believing that your gender is stable in different contexts and across different situations. B. Knowing what gender you are now and understanding that you have always been the same gender and will stay the same gender in the future. C. Knowing what gender you are now but thinking that you were a different gender in the past and could be a different gender in the future. D. Knowing what gender you are now but wanting to be a different gender at different times and in different situations. B. The consistency of the data. In a study of sex role stereotypes and the understanding of gender, a psychology student used a group of 7-year-old children. Each child was shown 2 pictures. Picture 1 showed people carrying out sex stereotypical activities. Picture 2 showed people carrying out non-sex stereotypical activities. The student asked the children to say how much they liked each picture on a scale of 1 to 10. The student decided to test for a significant difference between the judgments of the 2 pictures. He proposed using an unrelated t-test to analyze the data. Question 2. Suggest a more appropriate statistical test of difference for the student to use with this data. Explain 2 reasons for your choice based on the description of the study. 5 marks. A more appropriate statistical test of difference for the student to use with this data is the Wilcoxon test because the same children judge both pictures, and therefore the study is a repeated measures design. The data is ratings on a scale of liking 1 to 10 and the child's opinions are subjective, meaning there is no fixed unit of liking and therefore the data is at the ordinal level of measurement and non-parametric. Question 3. The student who carried out the study selected the 2 pictures. He decided himself which were sex stereotypical activities and which were non-sex stereotypical activities. Explain how the study could be improved by selecting the pictures another way. 2 marks. The study could be improved by selecting the pictures another way by having an independent researcher who does not know the purpose of the study select the pictures, use a panel of raters who have nothing to do with the study. Question 4. Discuss sex role stereotypes. Refer to the likely outcome of the student's study in your answer. 8 marks. Sex role stereotypes, gender stereotype, are a set of shared expectations, ideas, and rules that people within a society or culture hold about behaviors, traits, qualities and characteristics that are appropriate, acceptable, expected normal or usual for males and females. They will also act as a shortcut to appropriate behaviors in a given context. Girls will behave in ways they understand to be typically female, and boys will behave in ways they understand to be typically male. These sex role stereotypes are learnt from birth, as part of the process of socialization and reinforced by parents, peers, the media, magazines, television, social media, and the news, and institutions such as school. They are developed either through observation, imitation, and reinforcement, SLT, through the development of gender awareness, cognitive, as part of the process of internalization, psychodynamic. At 7 years old, children are aware of different expectations of males and females, and pictures of sex role stereotypical behaviors are consistent with children's schema of what it means to be male or female, so will be more acceptable. The expected outcome of the study is that the children will rate more highly pictures showing sex stereotypical behaviors. Smith and Lloyd, 1978, investigated whether parents reinforce gender-appropriate behavior but not gender-inappropriate behavior by conducting a naturalistic observation using a sample size of 32 mothers, who were given a 4 to 6 month-old baby, who was not their own child, that was either dressed in a unisex snowsuit with a name not always in line with their true biological sex or dressed in clothing that was associated with a particular gender, e.g. blue for a boy, pink for a girl, and given a corresponding gender name not always in line with their true biological sex. 7 toys were present in the room: a squeaky hammer and a stuffed rabbit in trousers, stereotypically male, a doll and a squeaky Bambi, stereotypically female, and a squeaky pig, a ball and a rattle, neutral. The mothers were told to play with the babies for 10 minutes and their interactions were observed and videotaped. They found that the mothers selected gender-appropriate and affirming toys for the babies to play with, e.g. a doll for girls, or a squeaky hammer for boys, depending on the perceived gender of the infant. They also responded more actively when a boy showed increased motor activity, and tended to soothe and calm a girl when she became more active. They concluded that the mothers treated the babies differently based on whether they perceived the sex of the baby to be a boy or girl and responded in line with stereotypical gender expectations. This suggests that parental influence reinforces sex role stereotypes and gender stereotypes can influence behavior from a young age, as parents treat children differently based on perceived gender. A limitation of sex role stereotypes is that they are socially sensitive. Sex role stereotypes may have harmful effects on society. For example, women may not go into fields such as science or technology, even if they are equally talented as men, because sex role stereotypes might tell them these are male industries. Similarly, men may avoid going into fields such as nursing and childcare due to sex role stereotypes. This is a limitation because it suggests that sex role stereotypes can limit individuals' career choices and opportunities, potentially leading to underrepresentation in certain fields regardless of talent or interest. Question 4. Outline BEM's research into androgyny. Explain one or more limitations of BEM's research. 8 marks. Androgyny is a personality type that is characterized by a balanced high-level combination of both masculine and feminine traits, attitudes, or behaviors. Psychologist Sandra Bem, 1974, argued that it was more psychologically healthy to avoid fixed sex role stereotypes. Bem believed that men and women should feel free to adopt a variety of masculine and feminine type behaviors to suit their personality and should not be stifled to one gender personality type, as stifling a person's personality can have significant psychological costs, e.g. mental disorders. She therefore devised a way of measuring both masculinity and femininity independently and the extent to which a person is androgynous. Bem created a psychological self-report questionnaire, called the Bem Sex Role Inventory, BSRI. It was developed by asking 100 American undergraduates which personality traits they thought were desirable for men or women. From this, a list of 60 characteristics and traits, 20 of which could be classified as masculine, 20 feminine, and 20 neutral, distractors not associated with either gender. Masculine behaviors included aggressive, ambitious, dominant, authoritative, competitive, assertive. Feminine behaviors included affectionate, compassionate, sensitive, caring, gentle, empathetic, sympathetic. Neutral behaviors included adaptable, sincere, helpful, truthful. Participants would then rate themselves on how true the statements were for them personally on a Likert scale of 1, never true, to 7, always true. The scores were then added up and translated to 2 dimensions, masculinity, femininity, and androgyny, unclassified, undifferentiated as follows: mask, high mask, low fem, fem, low mask, high fem, androgynous, high mask, high fem, and undifferentiated, low mask, low fem. Added 1977. Bem suggested that people who are highly androgynous are more psychologically healthy, have greater mental well-being, and are better equipped to adapt to a range of situations and contexts due to their extensive skill set than people who are strongly masculine, strongly feminine, or undifferentiated, therefore making androgyny more advantageous. A limitation of BSRI is that it takes a reductionist approach to assessing gender. The BSRI could be classified as an oversimplistic explanation of gender. Firstly, the BSRI only focuses on personality traits, ignoring and minimizing the effects of other factors, such as biology, gender identity, and social context, as well as interests and abilities, as argued by Golombok and Fivush, 1994. Secondly, the BSRI reduces the complex concept of a person's sense of gender to a series of quantifiable numbers. Spence, 1984, argued that there is more to gender identity than a set of behaviors typical of one gender or the other, and therefore, qualitative methods offer a better way of analyzing gender. This is a limitation because it suggests that the BSRI oversimplifies a complex and multifaceted aspect of identity and implies that quantitative methods alone may not be a way to study different aspects of gender. A limitation of the BSRI is that it is subjectively assessed. BEM scale is a self-report measure and androgyny is a type of gender and gender is a social construct. Because of this, each individual will have a differing opinion about the extent to which they are androgynous and may not have an insight into their own gender identity or an understanding of their personality and behavior. On top of this, each individual will have a different interpretation of the questionnaires' 7-point Likert scale scoring when they self-assess their own personalities and traits. This is a limitation because it suggests that the BSRI is not an objective, scientific way of assessing gender identity. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.